So hi everyone. Thank you very much for joining us here today for the Upskill Marketplace Showcase Series. Just to remind you all again, it's being recorded. We will send out the link to this recording afterwards. We are delighted to have Tracy Bedwell here with us to take us through Lean Six Sigma. And for those of you who don't know me, I'm Hannah Joyce. I'm the founder of Upskill Marketplace, which is a platform that helps businesses and teams find and book professional trainers and coaches, just like Tracy. I was tired of searching through LinkedIn profiles and doing Google searches looking for trainers. So I created Upskill Marketplace as a free resource for businesses to find and book the best trainers with upfront pricing and public reviews. I will let Tracy introduce herself in more detail, and you can find her many training offerings on Upskill Marketplace. So with that, I will hand you over to Tracy.
Thank you so much, Hannah, and it's a pleasure to be here and talk to you all about Lean Six Sigma, one of the many subjects that we cover within my company, Sales Training International. So as Hannah said, she asked me to come on board today on behalf of Upskill Marketplace to tell you a little bit more about Lean Six Sigma. So I'm going to be talking for probably about half an hour or so, maybe 40 minutes, and there will be an opportunity at the end where I will stay on and answer any questions that you may have. Also, feel free to pop any questions as they come into your head into the chat box if you don't want to stay on, and then we can answer those questions at the end as well. So let's make a start and have a look at Lean Six Sigma. Well, for this session, this is what I want to achieve by the end of this. So first of all, I would like to make sure that you understand what Lean and Six Sigma are. I'd like to also have you understand why companies are needing this and why it's becoming really, really popular again, even though it was first introduced way back into the 1980s. More importantly, what are the benefits for you as an individual and also for your organization for adopting a Lean Six Sigma approach? And then also, I want to give you at the end an example of a Lean Six Sigma tool that you can actually take away and use. And it's quite a fun little tool and an easy tool that you can go away and apply instantly. So that's what we're going to cover today. And also a very important point, how much is it going to cost if you want to be qualified in Lean Six Sigma? So that's what we're going to be talking about in the next half an hour. So I'm going to make a start straight away and talk to you about what is Lean, because we hear this word Lean Six Sigma, and they are two separate methodologies. That is the first thing I want to make clear, but they're used more often than not in conjunction with each other, and they work very well in conjunction with each other. So that's why you will see most courses called Lean Six Sigma. Doesn't mean to say that you can't have a Lean course on its own and you can't have a Six Sigma course on its own, but that's quite unusual. Normally we would put Lean and Six Sigma together. So what is Lean then? Lean is about customer focus. That's an easy way of putting it. It's about putting ourselves into the customer's shoes and thinking about where can we add value to our customers? How can we get our process and our service and our product and our offerings right the very first time? And how can we continually improve what it is that we are offering our clients so that we're always at the forefront? It's also about making it easier to operate a process or a system too. So Lean is pretty much about putting yourself in somebody else's shoes and thinking, is this what they want? Are we doing it to the best of our ability? And there are 5 Lean principles. So value, value stream, flow, pull, and perfection. So what do they mean? Value is looking at the customer's point of view. So is the customer getting value from what we're doing? Who is our ideal customer? And what is value in their minds? Because value in their minds might be something quite different to value in our minds. So it's all about taking into account something called the voice of the customer and thinking, okay, who's our ideal client base, what is value to them? Once we understand who our ideal customer is and what value looks like to them and not us, then it's about, okay, looking at the value stream on that. So looking at the activities required to deliver that product or service to the customer. So it's about mapping out a right process. So looking at the touch points along the way of how we deliver a product or a service. And at each point of those steps, are we adding value or are we not adding value? Because quite often we find when we look at the value stream stage, there are steps in the process that are just there for the sake of it. They don't actually add any value to the customer, and they could be taken away without a detrimental effect to the end result and actually make our lives easier internally in delivering that. So that's what the value stream looks at. The flow looks at the time it takes to get something to the customer. So are we doing something timely, and are we getting it to them when they need it? So talking about what I said earlier, is there any steps that we can take out that don't add value? Is there anything that is causing a bottleneck within our flow? Is there anything that is wasteful that we can perhaps eliminate? So that's what flow looks like. Pull is all about completing it at speed and getting it right at the right time for when the customer needs it. And then we've got the perfection part of it as well. And that's the monitoring, the quality, having got all the first four parts in order. Are we delivering something that is in the right quality? Are we continually having a look at what we do and making sure that we're tweaking it to make sure it's still what the customer wants? Is it taking into account things that have changed within the marketplace, within the environment? So lean is very, very much customer focused, and it's about looking at a journey map and a customer map and touch points. And I am hugely surprised how many organizations don't do that. I am exceptionally surprised when we go into organizations that they're offering a product or service and they haven't really done any of the voice of the customer. They haven't really looked at a customer journey. They haven't really done a process flow map. They haven't looked at, is what we're offering the right product? Is it offering the right value? Is it fitting what our ideal client base wants? Are we doing it timely? Have we got things within our process that we could eliminate to actually make this much more customer centric and much speedier and less wasteful? So that's what lean looks at. And a lot of organizations will just take a lean course on its own because they'll just want to look at a process or a product offering or journey mapping and see where there are, if they've actually done one at all, and how they can improve it. Now, Six Sigma is a separate subject to lean, but it fits really well within lean. It's a methodology which uses particular tools, just like lean does. It's very disciplined and it's very data driven. Okay, so what we normally do is talk about lean first and then move on to Six Sigma. It's all about again, continuous improvement within the process, and it's about putting a lot of quality tools in place. And what we're trying to look at here is, rather than waste, we're looking at quality. We're looking at how well we are doing something within the Six Sigma. So when we're looking at Six Sigma, if you have a look down here where my thing is, you can actually see a little thing, and we call that DMAC. And Six Sigma looks at define, measure, analyze, improve, and control. So they're the 5 areas of Six Sigma. So when you're looking at something, you would be defining what it is you're doing. So you're doing all the background and the research. Then you're measuring how you're doing at the moment. Then you're analyzing how you're doing right now and what you'd like to do. Then you're putting the improvements in place, and then you're putting the continuous control in place. Whereas in lean, we're looking at the top animation here, and there's a little word that we use called Tim Woods. So if you look at that, it spells out Tim Woods. And on lean, we're looking at the transportation of a product or a service, inventory control, motion, timing and waiting, over processing. Are we doing things that we don't need to do? Overproduction. Are we doing things before we need to do it? Defects and skills. And you can see that these two fit very well within each other, because lean is looking at how to eliminate waste and improve the process so it's right, whereas Six Sigma is looking at tools to reduce defects within a project. So they work fantastically together. They both have similar goals. They're both looking at eliminating waste and creating the most efficient process, improving the process from the customer's point of view. I think that's probably one of the sort of main things in both of these, and helping us also improve our products and our service offerings too. So continuous improvement in keeping us ahead of the game. Different tools can be used to get there, but they're better all when used together. And if you do a Lean Six Sigma course, we explain to you how to use what tools and when. And the whole thing about Lean Six Sigma is very small tweaks in a process, a service, a product can make a huge difference. And I want to explain this to you on this. Look at 99% versus 100. We've got some key things on this slide, which I think some of them are quite funny and some of them are quite scary, to be honest with you. But 16,000 articles of mail are lost per hour. Okay. Unsafe drinking water is almost 15 minutes of each day. So 15 minutes of every day, the water we drink at one point is unsafe. There are 500 incorrect surgical operations per week. There are 2 short or long landings at most airports each day. That's probably not the case at the moment because we're not flying very much at the moment. But look at this one, 200,000 wrong drug prescriptions are given out each year. And there's loads of, I hate the bottom one, 50 newborn babies dropped at birth each day. They're only 1% in the overall figure of what happens, but 1% can make a big difference. So Lean Six Sigma is not about taking a process that is terrible. It's about looking at something that you're doing already that you may think is fine and thinking, can we actually make this cheaper, faster, better for the client, better internally? And that's what Lean Six Sigma are about. And actually, if you go into an organization that has a process that does a lot of things like some of these things on this slide, by making a small tweak, it can actually make a huge difference. So why should we consider doing Lean Six Sigma as an organization or even an individual? This is more from an organization's point of view though. So I think we've all been through a really tough 12 months, personally and for every organization I know. Even the organizations that have thrived because of COVID, they've still had a tough time of it, trying to meet demand, like supermarkets, etc. They've still had, massive changes. So I think we've all seen a lot of change in this last 12 months. And Lean Six Sigma is a great tool for us to take a step back and think, okay, what are we doing? And what do we need to do to make this better moving forward, to make this better for us as an organization, for our staff, for our colleagues, and also for our clients. It also helps us keep abreast of ever-changing things within the marketplace. People talk about creativity and innovation. There's nothing more creative than Lean Six Sigma. The tools that we're introducing people to on a Lean Six Sigma program are all about problem solving, creativity, innovation. I think it helps us compete with the best within the marketplace too. It's been a fast moving world in this last year, and pretty much every business will have had to hate this word, but pivot or change. And these tools and this methodology certainly helps you do that. It also helps you standardize approaches within an organization too, so that if there's a Lean Six Sigma methodology within the organization, it means that everybody's working to the same ethos, and that really helps the organization grow far better than one who's each department's doing their own thing. I think it's a really good motivational tool too. Lean Six Sigma training is not for the lazy. I'm going to say that quite openly. It's for those people who are keen, who have a good work ethic, who want to learn, who want to change things, who want to make a difference within the workplace. So I think it really helps you choose future leaders within the organization. And, you know, everybody who goes to a Lean Six Sigma training course is so engaged and so motivated. The feedback we get is, my goodness, that's possibly the best and the hardest training course I've ever done. But I can actually see the value in it, and I'm excited to go and try it. I think it helps you achieve your own personal and business objectives. As we said earlier, it's a good problem-solving tool. It helps you innovate and it helps you change. But I've got in red at the bottom really great big things. It helps you reduce costs and save time. And you please show me one business at the moment, if you went up to them and said, hey, can I help you reduce some costs and save some time? And they're going to say to me, no thanks, Tracy. Of course, everybody wants to reduce costs and save time. So it really is a great tool to help with that. So a lot of people say to me, well, is it not just for manufacturing? Yes, it did start out as a manufacturing tool. It started out in General Motors back in the 1980s. But my goodness, it's not a manufacturing tool anymore. These are some of the clients that we have done Lean Six Sigma for in the last 5 years. So you can see some different things on there, from airports to Just Eat, cupcake company, logistics company, governments. So banks are a really big client of ours. So you can see the sort of range of clients who use Lean Six Sigma now, and that's growing at all the time. And it's not just for manufacturing, it's for people who want to improve services, people who want to improve timescales, people who want to improve costs, people who want to improve products. It's a really great tool. And I wanted to just give you some examples of what it can mean. So I haven't put the names of the customers on here. You can probably guess some of them from the previous slides. But these are some of our clients who have done Lean Six Sigma with us in the recent 2 years. I just went back, 3 years. I went back two or 3 years. And as you can see, this is the savings so far that these particular clients have saved with us. So if we have a look at this one, this international bank, they started with us 3 years ago, just doing a test batch. And we've probably put now, we're about to start another batch with them, and we'll be probably on about 100 people that we've put through Lean Six Sigma with them so far. And we're up to about, we're up to about 10 million savings for that particular organization. An airport that we did a batch 50 people for, they saved over 20 million pounds as an organization. Sorry, I'm in the office and my phone is going and I can't do anything about that. I am really sorry. So as you can see, the savings are huge, but it's not just about savings, it's about improvement in things as well. So here's some examples of how Lean Six Sigma can help an organization. So for example, the bank, Capital One, used Six Sigma to successfully tailor a different range of credit cards it wanted to introduce. A hotel company used it to maximize the revenue from the booking rooms when they weren't being used. A mobile phone company used it in terms of sourcing materials. BP have used it to reduce issues when they're looking at personnel. Dubai Duty Free have been using it because they had a 50% drop in business during the pandemic, obviously because it's an airport. So how could they look at the new customer demographic and make new ways to create income with the reduced footfall? So there's lots of ways that you can use Six Sigma to help you as an organization. And I'm just going to give you a couple of project examples. This is one we've done recently for a logistics company. So they wanted to look at or in fact, one person said to me on the course, I want to look at how the parcel process works. So when we get a parcel in to going out, that's what I want to do for my Six Sigma project. So they found out that a parcel on average from getting into the factory, the warehouse, to leaving took 7 hours, 45 minutes. And she'd done some research on that. Okay, so They defined the existing process and they identified the wastes. They did several trials and they decreased that from 7 hours, 45 minutes to 1 hour, 10 minutes. They also, as part of that project, reduced damages by 80% and increased the customer satisfaction score too. The cost savings for them, this one project was 3.5 million. And that was, this person was doing a green belt, by the way. They were only required to save 50,000 and they saved 3.5 million. This would have been possible at any time. It's just that nobody had ever took the time out to do it. You know how we are when we're in work. We're so busy, aren't we, just doing our job, that we don't often step back and take the time to look at what we do and could we do it any better. And that's what Lean Six Sigma does and encourages you to do. It encourages you to look at something you're doing and think, can we actually do this any better? And that's what Lean Six Sigma, I think, is absolutely fantastic for. So before I go on to talk to you about a tool, which is the tool I'm going to use, there are three types of Lean Six Sigma. There's green belt, yellow belt, black belt. And I'm going to come up on that at the end of this. And I'm going to explain to you what yellow belt means, which is the first belt, then the green, and then the black. There's also a master black as well. I'll explain what they mean and how do you get qualified in those. But before I do that, I wanted to talk to you about a tool. Because when you go on a Lean Six Sigma training course, you're going to get a whole bag of tools. You get a certain amount of tools on the yellow belt, and you get certainly a lot more tools on the green belt. And I always like to call them like a kit bag full of tools. And those tools are used for all different things. And one of the big subjects in both green and yellow is root cause analysis. And I'm sure you've heard of root cause analysis in other areas when you've done problem solving or risk analysis as well. So root cause analysis is about coming across a problem and not just firefighting the problem. So if a problem happens, our natural reaction sometimes is to just solve the problem as quickly as possible. And that isn't always the best way, because by solving the problem as quickly as possible, it doesn't always get to the root cause as to why that problem happened in the first place. And by going down and drilling down into the root cause of a problem, it stops us putting a sticking plaster over that problem, and that problem then rearing its head again and again and again. And we continually put a sticking plaster on it and a sticking plaster on it. By looking at the root cause of a problem, it allows us to delve deeper and think, okay, what's causing this? Can we fix it so that this problem doesn't happen again in the future? So it might take longer in the first place, but it's going to save you so much time and money in the long term. And that's the whole ethos of Lean and Six Sigma. So root cause analysis is really important. And it's about prevention rather than blame as well. So it's not about who's right or who's wrong. It's about what's causing this and what can we do to stop it happening in the future. Now, when we look at root cause analysis on a Lean Six Sigma course, we talk about many different tools to help us with root cause analysis. You've probably heard of fishbone diagrams and many other ones. The one I want to talk to you today, which is probably the easiest one for me to do in a free webinar, is something called the 5 Whys. And the 5 Whys is a fantastic tool to help you with root cause analysis, and it's one tool that you could use in your kit bag of tools for root cause analysis. So what I would like to do now is I'm going to share a video with you, so you don't have to listen to me talking anymore. It's just for a few minutes, and it explains in quite a fun way what root cause analysis is. But it is really, really important, because this is a true story and this is something that happened. And rather than just fix the problem with the first option, which you'll see in the video, they did the 5 Whys and got to the root of the problem. So I'm just going to now share a quick video with you for a few minutes. One moment. Hopefully you can all now see a video. If you can't, unmute and shout out. And I'm going to... Okay, so I think that's quite a fun little video to watch, but it's scary. It really is quite scary. As to, I just wonder how many organizations have spent so much money employing expensive consultants and making massive changes, which were a sticking plaster option, because they haven't drilled down to the root cause of it. So the 5 whys is just one tool that we use in a plethora of tools when we're looking at root cause analysis. But it's really, really important. That is that is a true story. They were considering moving the airport, and in the end, they just turned the lights off an hour earlier, which I think is, it's flabbergasting when you look at it. But, panic mode steps in sometimes in organizations. And when there's an issue, we just rush for the first thing that we have to do to fix it rather than looking at the root cause. So, as I say, root cause analysis is just one small part of the Lean Six Sigma. So I think on Hannah's flyer that she had at the start of this, she said, why this is the only training course that guarantees return on investment. And it really does. So I'm not going to talk about black belt at the moment, because black belt's something for the future. If you're looking at becoming Lean or Six Sigma qualified, you normally would start on yellow and then move on to green, although some people start straight on green. What is the difference of them? Yellow belt is a 1-day training course. Because we're doing it online at the moment, we split it across 2 half days. And then you have to go into the organization having done the training course and complete an on-the-job project. And that on-the-job project, you get about between 6 and 10 weeks to do that. And you have to save a minimum of £10,000. And you also have to use all of the tools that you've been taught on the course. And what happens is the trainer who's delivered the course for you will then work with you across that project. They'll be mentoring you each week, and they'll be assessing you to check, are you using those tools correctly? Are you doing your project correctly? And are you saving £10,000? And it's only at the end of that period when the trainer can say, actually, Jane Smith has completed the course, used all of the tools correctly in a relevant project within her organization, and save £10,000, will you get your qualification as a yellow belt. The green belt works very similar, apart from the training course is 5 days as opposed to 1 day. When you go back into the organization, you have to do a project, but you get longer, you get between 3 and 6 months, and the project has to save £50,000. So a little bit of a larger undertaking. Some companies go straight to green belt. Some companies start with yellow belt. I want to give you a word of warning. You can go onto the internet straight after this and type in yellow belt Six Sigma qualification, and you'll find 100 companies online who will let you pay £1,000 or £1,500, and you'll have to watch, I don't know, 20, 30 hours of learning. And then they'll just give you a massive exam at the end of it with probably a couple of 100 questions. There'll be no interaction. There'll be no doing a project. It's just literally, can you remember a load of stuff and then take an exam? And they'll give you a certificate. You will find companies out there that will do that online. So any one of us could go online and become yellow or green belt certified without ever having to practice a tool, without ever having to make any savings. I would urge you against that. It's the same as going online and sort of getting a degree. There's no substitute for being able to practically use this, because Six Sigma is such a valuable tool. Yes, you get a qualification for your CV, which is a proper internationally recognized qualification, which is fantastic. It makes you much more marketable in terms of your CV. But it also gives you lifelong tools that whatever job you undertake, you have a Six Sigma lean mentality. So when a company comes to us and says, can we do Lean Six Sigma? We normally start with one cohort, and that one cohort will normally take yellow belt or green belt. And as soon as that cohort has done it, and they've seen how fantastic the results are within the organization, the whole organization then does it. It's a bit like Agile, really. There's no point in one person in the organization being trained in Agile. There's no point in one person in the organization being trained in Lean Six Sigma. It is a methodology, a mindset. So it's really great if a department can do it together, or, ideally the organization works towards having this mindset. It's the only training course we offer where we say, if you employ us to come in and do Lean Six Sigma, and you don't save as an organization at least as much as what you've paid us to run the course, we will give you the difference back. That's how confident we are as to how fantastic Lean Six Sigma is. We've never had to do a refund yet. So I think that's quite an interesting point. It's the only training course. We've been running a training company now for 20 years. It's the only training course I can ever say that for. So how much does it cost? About £1,000 a person. If you're looking at yellow belt, each person will save approximately 10,000, probably a lot more. Green belt is about £1,500 a person, just roughly. It depends on how many people go through it, and they have to save a minimum of 50,000. So you can see the return on investment is huge for this. Plus, each person gets a qualification as well. So I want to stop talking now. What's next? Hannah is going to send you a copy of this. There will be other free webinars happening with Upskill Marketplace. And we as an organisation offer virtual learning, face-to-face learning and bespoke webinars. We're all over Upskill Learning Place. We do pretty much anything to do with soft skills. There are 20 people who work for this organisation. We've got quite a lot of our offerings on Upskill Marketplace, so you'll find us on there. There is free information on our website, lots of free information, and there's also lots of information as well on the Upskill Marketplace website there too. If any of you want to follow me on LinkedIn, there's a QR code on the bottom there. You can just hold your phone up and you can follow me on there, and there's lots of free information we put on LinkedIn too. But I do urge you to go to Upskill Marketplace. It's a really good resource. If you're looking for a subject, you can have a look on there and see who's offering it, and you can compare options on there in a very easy place to have a look at lots of different options on there.